Okay, so this video is going to be about changing the subject. Okay, now changing the subject, what that means is it means that if we have an equation, so let's say we have y is equal to a plus b. Now, at the moment, the subject of this equation is y, because we have y is equal to, and then something on the right-hand side, okay? So when we say make a the subject of the equation, we want to have it so that it says, well, a is equal to, and then something, okay? So our job here is to find out what this something is, okay? Now, the way that we do that, okay, is we say, well, in this example, we want the a on its own, okay? But the problem that we have is that we have a plus b here, okay? We want to get rid of this somehow, okay? We can't just scribble it out. It doesn't work like that. We have to get rid of it mathematically, okay? So the way that we do this is we say, well, if we have a plus b, to get rid of that, to do the opposite, we have to do a minus b, okay? So we have to take away b on this side. Now, the thing is with equations is that they're like a seesaw or a set of balances, okay? So if you take something off one side, so let's say we take a b off this side, you have to take it off the other side as well. Because if we don't, what happens is the scale becomes unbalanced, and then this side will drop down. Okay, so this side will be bigger, heavier than this side, okay, in this example. So we have to make sure we do the same to both sides. So, as we've said, to remove this plus b, we have to take b off this side, but we have to do the same to this side. So what that gives us is y take away b is equal to a plus b take away b. Okay. Now if we do b take away b, we just end up with 0. Okay. So what this actually ends up being is y take away b is equal to a. Okay. Now it's better to write it this way around. A is equal to y take away b. Okay, but these are exactly the same thing. Okay. So that's with a positive b. Now let's say, for example, we want to do it with a negative b. So we have this, and we want to make a the subject again. Okay. So again, we have to take away this extra bit that we don't want. Okay, we have to get rid of this minus b. And to get rid of a minus b, this time we do the opposite. We have to add on b, okay? And now we have to do the same to both sides. So this becomes y plus b is equal to a take away b plus b. Minus b plus b is just 0. So then we have y plus b is equal to a. And then we write it this way around, just because it looks a bit neater. Okay? So the two simple examples with pluses and minuses. Okay, now let's try another example. So let's say, for example, we have y is equal to 2a. Okay, now what this actually means, it just means y is equal to 2 times a. Okay, so you could also look at this like y is equal to a times by 2, and then you could say, well, okay, we have a times by 2 here, but we just want the a on its own. So what can we do to get rid of this times by 2? And the answer is, well, we divide by 2. Okay, so if you double something, to get it back to what it was before, you chop it in half. Okay, but again, we have to do the same thing to both sides to make sure the equation stays balanced. Okay, so what we get now is we get y divided by 2 is equal to a times by 2, and then all of this divided by 2. Okay, now 2 divided by 2 is 1, so this bit here is 1, and then all we have there is a times by 1, which is just a. So we end up with y divided by 2 is equal to a. Okay, and there's another way to write this. So instead of y divided by 2, I like to write y over 2 is equal to a. Okay, and then as we did before, whenever you're asked to change the subject, it's always worth putting the letter that you've been asked to change the subject to on the left-hand side. That's just the general way to write things. So here we have a is equal to y over 2. Okay. Let's try one more. So say, for example, instead of y equals 2a, let's have y equals a over 2. Okay, now what we do is we say, well, we can write this differently. We can say, well, this is just saying y is equal to a divided by 2. Okay, so to undo a divide by 2, we have to times by 2 on both sides. Okay, so then we get a 2y is equal to a divided by 2, and then we times by 2. Okay, so if we divide by 2 and then times by 2, we're back to where we started. So essentially these cancel out and we just get 1. Okay, so that gives us 2y is equal to a divided by 1. A divided by 1 is just a. 2y is equal to a. Okay, and again we write the a on the left hand side. A is equal to 2y. Okay, and there's a couple more examples. So let's say we have y equals a squared. Okay, to get the a on its own, so that we have a is equal to something, what we need to do is we need to get rid of this squared. Okay, now to get rid of the squared, you have to square root. Now in this example, we square root both sides, okay, because you have to do the same to both sides. So we square root the y, and we square root the a squared. And if you square root an a squared, this is the same as squaring a number and then unsquaring it, essentially. Okay, so then we end up with square root of y is equal to a. Okay, and then again we write it on the left hand side, a is equal to the square root of y. Now let's say we have a similar example and we have y is equal to the square root of a. To get rid of a square root, we have to do a squared. Okay, so we do the same to both sides, square both sides. Y squared is equal to the square root of a squared. So this just means square root of a times by the square root of a. And whenever you have the square root of something times by the square root of the same thing, it just becomes whatever's in the square root, just an a. Okay, so in this example, this will become y squared equals a. And again, if we write a on the left hand side, we get a equals y squared. Okay.